I've been involved in economic development on and off over the last 30 years. And while this looks like a construction site, there are many clues that this is an up and coming area and an investment opportunity. And I'm going to cover a few of those aspects. I'm Justin Hitt with Prosperity Homestead, where we talk about improving land use and sustainable wealth secrets. So this is a Sunday. There is very little traffic on a Sunday. I have seen some foot traffic. And what you'll notice around me is most of the buildings, especially these large buildings, are under construction. Now this is a warehouse district. However, you will notice some things like in the middle there, which are loft apartment buildings. And you'll notice a bunch of first floor restaurants and such. Now, I visited this area a year and a half ago and did a little walk around, trying not to get too many people's cars in the picture. Look at this older architecture. It's beautiful brick. Now, I have, in full disclosure, I have met a few of the people who are doing the design and development, and you'll see that a lot of this brick is solid bones. Now, there's water damage and shifting of the brick, but you can usually steel frame the inside and keep the aesthetic while gaining historical and tax credits doing the build outs. So the aesthetic, the view, the ambiance, the nature of the work that was going on here before, this is a tobacco district, can be conveyed in the historical context and story of the space, making it a good investment. See, if this was just any old place rather than Danville, Virginia, the corner of Newton and Craig's Head, if it was just any other place and there wasn't a university nearby, then you wouldn't have the story to tell. The aspect of history and the ability to connect with that history, which helps sell these types of districts. Now, most of these places are empty warehouses and they are not fully developed out. But nooks between each of these spaces give you opportunities to set up a footprint similar to Roanoke, Virginia, similar to Greensboro, Virginia, similar to downtown Raleigh, that is extremely walkable. Again, this is a Sunday. There isn't anybody anywhere and hardly any place open because most of the apartments are up the road. It's also about 5 o'clock, so a lot of people there are out eating if they're going to be someplace at all. But what you'll see as you go through here, the city's invested in the beautiful aesthetic. The signs have been refreshed. The plants are out hanging. Now, plants could be pruned, but as hot as it's been, we're just lucky they're growing at all. The tree-lined roads provide shade. The buildings are refreshed while not completely rebuilt. So you can see in here, it's the open floor plan, retail establishment, quick, easy setup. Looks like ballerina clothing. It's actually a quality dancewear consignment. And so not a lot of work is gone into building out the space because it can be used as it is. Now they've got public parking, they've got areas to sit, and what this shows you is that they're building in capacity for a population to live nearby. Now, where would that population live? Of course, it can live in any of these buildings rebuilt into loft apartments or apartment buildings. So the first floor is retail, second floor is living space. Now in this, that's what makes it a good investment, because the concentration of people will drive the retail space. It'll increase the tax base. It'll help the city get back any money that they've invested into it. With plenty of parking, people aren't fighting to where they're gonna put their cars. So the building has an empty building can park cars as well as it can park people in lofts. And then there are open outdoor spaces for festivals and events. And see, that combination delivers a return on your investment. Now, I don't have anything to gain from this. I'm just showing you characteristics that make good land use and good economic development sense. Notice the walkways have changed. So instead of the typical square corners, you have the opportunity to send water off where it needs to go. We get a lot of rain in this region. Probably this is a better example here. You have an increase in parking spaces. And this kind of bump at the intersection prevents cars from parking on the corner of the intersection. It slows vehicles down as they approach the intersection. There's no need for stop signs, for lights. Now, there is a stop sign over there, so the stop signs are on the crossroads. The flow of traffic has no stop sign. There's no need for stoplights. There's no need for extra signs, because ultimately, the design of the space moderates the behavior. We got empty retail shops over here, as well as low footprint retail shops. So salons and looks like herbs and natural food stores, they don't require a lot of infrastructure. When we talk about parking, this is what I meant by old building, steel frame the inside, and now they've turned it into parking space. Now, what's interesting about this area is that you can go down. You can see how they've excavated downward, so these spaces can have basements. But by reinforcing the aesthetic of the building, so the exterior brick is beautiful, it can stay like that, but they've got to reinforce that aesthetic and then reinforce the flooring and such like that. That is a lot cheaper than a new build. And so you don't have to come in here and start from scratch. You got a new build. Now, I'm not sure if that's roof above here or if that's a second story, because many of these buildings are 3 or 4 stories. Remember, these are all tobacco warehouses. Okay, so that's probably a roof up there. So it's a parking garage today. It could later be retail stores. It could later be office establishment. But essentially, the framework is built from the inside out. Now, there's issues where you have to secure walls. But again, the city didn't get in the way of the necessary construction to keep both the aesthetic of the town and change the use of the space. Folks, this is very important. So the investment strategy here is, if you can't get inside of this area at a reasonable rate, you can start buying up the land around the area, because this kind of thing will expand. People will want to live in the River District, and here's the Danville Tobacco Warehouse and Residential District. See, it has history, it has depth, it has convenience, it has so many things that people are looking for when it comes to a place to live. Now, Danville is centrally located off of 29. You can easily get north, south, east, or west. And they've made a lot of decisions. Now, I don't know about their tax base or changes in tax base, but they've made a lot of decisions that have made possible the conversion of old warehouses into residential space, housing density, the flexibility of taxes and zoning to bring in and retain educational institutions, research institutions, and other types of changes. So this is actually, and they also have awesome restaurants. But again, this is a low footprint type of space. They didn't require all the businesses to build out infrastructure. They didn't require all the businesses to do a lot of things that typically increase the costs associated with building out a space. And so you can see across Danville here, got some old hotels, office buildings. They're expanding their footprint with apartments. And then, of course, down the Craighead Road here, you can see the build out. So again, there's a walking trail within the city, downtown city limits. There's opportunities for job creation. There's opportunities for affordable housing. It's a little bit of everything. Now, a lot of folks would call this gentrification. A lot of folks would call this a distressed, taking advantage of the distressed nature of the community. But what this is massive and beautiful revitalization. And so when you invest into something like this, or you see something like this in a small town, you want to support it. You either set up private funding to invest, or you buy out spaces and partner with developers, existing developers, to install new opportunities. So now I'm not familiar with all the space here, but here's like the back part of a bistro. It looks like apartment storage up top. How you doing?
Hi.
And it's a beautiful example of how the city and the individual investors have pooled together to make something useful of what otherwise would be a retiring or a failing warehouse district. They're not shipping tobacco through here anymore. And so what can you do? Well, you can make safe housing, valuable entertainment, opportunity for jobs, and so much more. I'm Justin Hitt with Prosperity Homestead and Sustainable Wealth Secrets newsletter. And I kind of got myself down an alley here, but this is where the public parking is. And another example of just framing out the insides of the buildings. Thanks for watching. www.prosperityhomestead.org, or join our newsletter at www.sustainablewealthsecrets.com.